this section for today. But we want to move on to the state to probably listen to what the state is currently doing so we can see how we can synergize between the state and the federal. And currently, I know Adeola Salau is joining us from Lagos State. He will be making the presentation. Mr. Adeola, are you there?
I am here. Good morning, everyone.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. So we're going to ask you to make a brief presentation in 7 minutes. Just let us know what Lagos State is currently doing, what you're currently doing in Lagos State, and how donor agencies can probably link in with what you're doing and partner with you, and also probably from the federal as well.
Of course. I was told that you have our slides already.
Yes, please.
I don't have my laptop, so you can show our slides if you don't mind.
All right, so give us 1 minute. But go ahead.
Of course. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Adeola Salau. I'm the Senior Special Assistant on STEM Education to the Governor of Lagos State. It's good to be here with you all.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. So I'm really excited to share about the work we've been doing here in the ministry. We have been quite busy. There's been a lot on ground, particularly, thank you, particularly with the recent pandemic that's affected all of us at the first quarter of this year. However, with that, we're still pushing on the how will I put it, the goals and the vision that we have for Lagos State. We have run several multimedia education projects. Please go to the next slide. We've run Echo Excel. We've run TV and radio programming during the pandemic. We've also launched online learning platforms. In fact, one of them was launched to aid our students in preparation for the ubec exams and for the BC programs for the junior secondary schools. We've also given out mobile devices, really simple smartphones, to our SS2 students. We've also given out radios to our JSS2 students. I don't know where it's coming from.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I think it's gone now. Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So yes, we have spent close to 30 billion on these various projects, and the contribution on the part of our state has been about 10 of that. We also have had private partners who come on board to support this work that we're doing. We've had Bridge International Academies. We've had Robert and John. They are the ones who did the learning platform for the simple smartphones. It's called Reducate. It's based on the Nigerian curriculum, and the students are able to learn, have quizzes, and also get feedback on the work they're doing. We also partner with media partners like Wazobia, TVC, and Niger FM. TVC has been where we've been working on the Total Education Show, which has highlighted a lot of the work we're doing, and also brought on board various stakeholders to talk about what we are doing and our objectives and our hopes with for the states. The key things that we've made sure that we've been honing upon over and over this year has been making sure that we infuse technology into our teaching and learning for our students. And then we've made sure that even with the recent disconnect and things being really unprecedented, as they were, like I said, for the first quarter of this year, we've made sure that our students were still engaged and learning, whether they were in the classroom or not. During the height of when things started to really look bleak and schools started to close down, we realized that one of the major learning platforms that students could really engage on, especially if they don't have data or they say, oh, I don't have devices, was on air, the radio. So we made a call out, and we had this radio media channels come in and say, you know what, we'll partner with you, we'll be able to air your programming, and then our teachers also deliver the content. And we've had quite positive responses from a lot of people, not just here in the state, but outside the state. So even if schools were closed, learning continued. And then as we all know, the recent events have shown us that learning must continue, whether or not you're in the classroom. So to highlight that, we've continued to focus on creating a 360 learning ecosystem. And then, as we all know, students have not been in any of our physical buildings. And look at it right now, we're talking virtually. We have people here in Nigeria, some of us in Abuja, some of us are in Lagos, we're across the states, across the country and across nations. And it has also shown us that there is a huge gap because of inequities in our students being able to have access to data, access because of power failure, being able to go online, not having devices themselves. So right now, we realize that there's a huge need for technological infrastructure, for that creation of it. And I'm happy that you're asking about people partnering with us. This is where we need partners. And then even private schools, a lot of them who we call low-cost private schools, they had issues to getting on board because you can hear from the name, low cost, they were really not equipped to be able to take care of their teachers and also take care of their students too. Why we were focused on this drive to ensure that we had partners to help us support getting these devices and getting the devices to our students is, as we can see, we're now on our, I believe this is our 5th or 6th month that we've been out of school. Yes, this is our 5th month that we've been out of school. Yet we must have our students engaged. We must have them continually learning. And a lot of our students come from marginalized backgrounds where how are they going to be able to go and buy these radios? How are they going to be able to buy the phones? How are they going to be able to get data? How are they going to be able to charge these phones? So we made sure that the phones that we got were ones that were really simple and could be used and not too attractive so that it doesn't become a lure for people wanting to steal them from them. And then devices that could still be used within our context of, how would I put it, challenging, infrastructure with the radio, being able to tune into our 90 FM, and then also being able to utilize, because right now the Radicates, the way we designed it is a lot of the material is offline, and then those that are online, we make sure that the students have limited access to the internet so that they are not on Facebook or Instagram or anything else. And then we have also been working with our telecoms to see how we can reduce the data for them being able to go online with those simple phones. So far, we've given out over 28,000 of these phones. I was a part of the teams that have gone out to various districts to hand this to the students physically. And we've actually asked the students questions, talked to them about what they're doing and what they were engaged in with our virtual learning platforms over the lockdown. We've also given out over 15,000 radio devices. We're still putting out the call for more organizations to partner with us so that we can be able to give out these devices to our students. So our plan right now, we have, of course, a tripartite plan, short-term, mid-term, and long-term plans. Our short-term plans are to continue to engage our students, even when they do go back physically to the classrooms, with the TV and radio programming, and then train our teachers to be able to also utilize digital media to teach the students and also learn and equip themselves too, because that's the way the world is going right now. And also we're going to be uploading more of the content from our teachers, from the work that we're doing in the classrooms, both video and audio. We're going to be creating podcasts and also get more devices for the students as well as the teachers so that the teachers can utilize these devices more, integrate it more into their teaching for the students. So our midterm plans are continuing to leverage upon this digital media for the students, making it more school atmosphere to more digitalized, and then creating more digital training programs for both our public and private schools. And then long-term is a 360 learning ecosystem that I alluded to earlier, where our students, we're going to be incorporating more blended learning for the students, where there'll be forms of them being in the classroom, and then of course the virtual learning, the phones, the radios, and the TV programming. And make sure, because one of the things that we keep hearing when we go to the students is lack of data. So we have to make sure that we are enabling more access for them to the internet. So which means internet infrastructure. And one of our long-term plans is also a dedicated radio station just solely for education here in Lagos State for our students. I'm going to explain in more detail what does this 360 learning ecosystem that I just mentioned, what it is like I said, the physical classroom, and then there's the digital school itself. And that digital school is the virtual learning for the students, the radio, the TV, and the learning platforms that they are utilizing on the simple smartphones, or the laptops, or what do you call them again, tablets. And the students being able to connect, whether they're in school, whether they're at home, whether they're on the road. There's a lot of work that we're putting in place to make all of this a reality. However, like you guys have correctly said, we do need the support of private organizations, of people who understand that education is a social good and benefits all of society. So we're really looking forward to hearing more about how you all can come on board and see what you can do to join us to make possible our actualization of this vision, of these goals for our students and our teachers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to ask you to hold on. We're going to take a couple of help us take a couple of questions. But before that, let me bring in Mr. Adebayo, who is also from Oyo State. Mr. Adebayo, can you say hello? Okay. Mr. Adebayo, can you hear us?
I don't think he can.
Okay. All right. So while I wait for Mr. Adebayo to come in, so let's take a couple of questions. We have one ourselves, then we'll take from the attendees themselves. Okay. So basically, we'd like to find out what are your set calls of indicators that you use to measure the project impact. What are the set calls of indicators that you currently use to measure?
Could you repeat that again? Let me get that very clearly. You said what are the
sets of your core indicators that you use to measure the project impact? So far you've mentioned a couple of things here, doing a kind of a hybrid, both traditional, that's using traditional media, radio and television, and then you're also doing new media like the digital and all of that. So where are the core indicators that you measure to measure your outcome and to measure that the project is successful or not?
Oh, the echoing is back.
Yeah, so sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Are you able to get our question?
No, because the echoing was really bad.
Okay, so basically what we are asking is, Lagos State is currently implementing some kind of a hybrid education system. So you've said you've done both radio and television, which is like the traditional way, and then you're doing the new media, which is of course the digital classrooms you've created and all of that. So the question we are asking, in developing these two hybrid ways to reach out to students, what are your core indicators to measure that the project is successful or not successful? How do you measure this both ways?
So how do we measure success in this project?
How do you measure the success for both ways, especially for the traditional media, where students have to listen to radio and all of that? How do you measure viewership? How do you measure how many people viewed and all of that to know the project impact? And just a follow-up to that question as well, you've shared radio to students from what you said in your presentation.
Yes.
How do you account for those phones and those radio that been distributed? It's not stolen, it's actually being used and all of that. So what are the MLE being implemented?
Yes, MLE. Okay. First of all, the indicators that we're using for measuring engagement. We are working on making the radio programming more interactive for the students. So we are creating the radio programming to be an interactive radio programming where we'll be able to have feedback from students. Right now, what we have on ground, and it's not as interactive as we want, in fact, I call it a work in progress, is on Fridays, we have the students do what we call calling. They call in, they ask questions, and then we say, okay, based on the questions students are having, we have an idea of whether they're really following the content that we'll be sharing during the week. It's not as interactive as we want it to be, and that's why we are creating another format, which we call our interactive radio instruction. Where we're engaging, where we will, sorry, not engaging, we're working on where during the regular transmission, we'll be able to have polling, we'll be able to have surveys when we go in physically. Now that we're easing off and students are coming back physically to the classroom, we're able to have surveys periodically where we can question the students about what did you gain from what was shared this week? What are the feedback you have for us? We're working on surveys, we're working on feedback back and forth. So we'll have more polling during the programming itself, the transmission. And then we'll also have physical where we go in to have surveys in the field, to ask them questions, to find out. And then also ask the teachers, how much of what we're sharing during the radio and TV, are they infusing into their actual lessons with the students in the classroom so that they can follow up? That's like we're easing back now to students going back to the physical classroom. How much are they doing that they can, build upon? Okay, for example, just giving an example. Let's say we worked on probability in one of the math lessons for maybe the junior secondary. Okay. When the teacher is in the classroom, did they follow up with them saying, okay, guys, this is what we shared during probability. I'm going to ask you questions about this. Let me see how well do you comprehend what was shared. And then we now go back and say, okay, you know what, this shows that we needed to break this down into more detail. Maybe we needed to do some more explanation. Maybe we needed more examples when we're describing it on air. That will help us to feed and now develop our content moving forward. That's for the transmission. Then you mentioned something about, let me see, what was the other thing you mentioned? About success of the project.
Yes.
We see, and also the devices, I'm also coming to that next. But success of the project to us is when we go out to the field and we are surveying our students and we're surveying the teachers, we're asking the students, how many of you are partaking in this? And we're telling them, please be forthright with us, be frank with us. If you're having any challenges getting on, let us know. If you are able to, okay, then tell us what were your experiences. We're not asking so that they're telling us directly. What we've been doing is we actually create online surveys and they are the ones who answer questions so that way they are owning up to their own experiences, that this is what we experience, this is what we like, this is what we like to change. And I found out that the students have actually been very, very blunt. Oh, we don't like this, we like this. That's one thing I love as students, not like adults. They'll just tell you, I want us to work on this, I want us to work on this. And it's been a really good experience and we want to continue that. So that's how we're able to measure and follow up on engagement. And we've gone to all our districts across Lagos State. Now, in terms of the devices, what we've been doing is we've given ownership of these devices, both the radios and the phones, to the districts and the personnel, therefore. So they actually have all the details of these students. They follow up with the students. Even here at the ministry, we have numbers for some of the students, and we tell them that we want you to talk to us. Tell us what is your experience like when you were using this. And they tell us, oh, like the software, for example, that I just mentioned, the one that they're using on the simple smartphones, they actually tell us, oh, you know what, I wasn't able to access this and I had a problem doing it. They are very, really, really, really blunt. And it's fantastic. We even have the people who develop the software, the app developers, come in yesterday and last week, and we discussed with them, look, the students said this, they told us about this device. I think we need you to go back and work on this. So there's a follow-up. There is a, how would I call it, top to bottom, where we're following up and making sure that, and we've told them that, look, these devices are not just for you. It's something that you are going to use, and then we have to pass it down to your, what do we call them? The people who come after them, your classmates who are coming up after you. You're our, I don't like to, I guess I could use that word. You're a pilot study, and we want to see and make sure that we do this right, so that once we get it right with you guys, the other people coming up after you also use the devices like you. So that's what we've been doing with them.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that answer has been very elaborate. So we're going to take, we wanted Mr. Adebayo to actually join in this discussion, but I think he's having some kind of technical challenges. Yes. Okay. So, which is,
hello.
Okay. Can you hear us now?
Online.
Okay.
There's too much echo. Too much echo.
There's a lot of echo.
Too much.
Okay, so we're going to send you, Mr. Adebayo, if you can hear us, we are private chatting you now. So please check your chat. So you need to correct some settings so that we don't have a lot of echoes coming from your end, because it tends to disturb the other participants as well. Please check your private chat. Okay, so back to you in Lagos State. So we have a couple of questions I think our attendees have asked. So let's scroll down and then try to answer a couple of those questions. Are you with us?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so I think one of the questions I've been asked, let's scroll. Let's go down. Yeah. Okay. Is there a way, so you just listen to the question and then see if you can pick the one that you can answer, that answers to you, that probably relate to you. Is there a way through which remotely we can interpret? No, I think I'm going to pass this one. Okay, my question is there any form of continuous assessment based on the radio classes to measure student learning? That question is coming from Veronica in Abuja.
Okay, good. That was what I was addressing when I mentioned the interactive radio that we're trying to work on. That is a work in progress because there needs to be some form of assessment. We all know that when you're learning, you need to be able to assess, are you really comprehending the material? Are you able to grasp the content that's being passed to you? So yes, there is some form of that we're working on with the radio and the TV. However, with the simple smartphones, they already have quizzes. In fact, they have such a robust response to the quizzes, and we even have contests on there. I believe it was last week. Was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. They had the governor's quiz based on some of the quizzes that they had on the simple smartphones. And it was fantastic. The children did fabulous work. And we had them competing from all 6 districts, and they were competing for various prizes. And the Honorable Commissioner herself awarded prizes to the students when they came here, and there was a prize giving ceremony. It was fantastic. So yes, assessment is really big.
All right, so we'll have another question that is coming from Mr. Uche. He's asking, what is the motivation mechanism used to encourage teachers who are actually creating this e-learning content? And what's the quality, how quality is assessment measured yet? So if you can talk a little bit more on that.
Of course. Thank you so much for bringing that up. As educators, it's really important to make sure that we address how we're taking care of our teachers too. The Honorable Commissioner and the Governor have also made sure that they have been rewarding the students in various methods. And in fact, one of the things we're actually going to talk about, well, we're going to do in the office today is, how will I put it? What's the word now I'm looking for? We're going to be highlighting their tremendous sacrifice, the work that they've done. And we've also been making sure that we are empowering their abilities to create this digital content by signing them up in various programs. Microsoft trained about 18,000 of our teachers. That was about 3 weeks ago. And then we had a program with a partnership with a really fantastic organization in the US, the biggest museum in the entire world, the Smithsonian Museum, where actually creating a press release around that, partnered to work with our science education teachers, our math, science, well, just say STEM in general, teachers. And we're also going to be awarding and highlighting the efforts of these teachers because we put them in programs like this so that we continue to build and empower their abilities, the work that they have inside them so that they continue to produce stellar work for our students and continue to, the amount of people who tuned into this programming, like I said earlier, it wasn't just here in the States. I remember I was on an Insta Live program about, I think it was May, and I was shocked to have educators and parents all the way from Calabar, all the way from Nasarawa, telling us that they are listening to our programming online. That's the Niger FM. They are listening to our programming online. So we are rewarding and motivating these teachers by saying, you know what, we're really proud of this work you're doing. We want to make sure that we continue to get you to this really fantastic world-class programming across the world so that we continue to build your abilities, your capabilities as fantastic, excellent teachers. So we're continuing to plug them into programs like that. And anybody that knows our teachers, they will know that our teachers are capable of fantastic stuff. People just think that, oh, because they're public school teachers, they're like, no, they're really, really good. So by not only telling them, you know what, we're rewarding you, of course, with material benefits, but saying, we know you have this inside you, and we're going to expose you to the best so that what is inside you continues to be refined, that it continues to bring out even more stellar material. And we are just seeing, I wish some of those teachers were right here with me so that they could actually tell you in their own words how excited they are that they are partaking of this programming and they're going to turn around and pour it back into our students. So please, I need us, I'm happy that I'm even talking about this. I need us to correct that misconception we have about our public school teachers. They are fantastic teachers. They're amazing. They're doing great work. So I hope that explains that.
Okay, that explained that. Thank you very much. I think a couple of questions that have been asked, I think you've already answered it in the course of your presentation and all of that. But if anyone still have a question, please, for Lagos State, I'd like you to drop those questions. But just in a closing notes, you've talked about a couple of areas that probably are looking at collaboration and all of that. So I'd like to find out a couple of things. The device that we are distributed right now, the question I asked probably that you didn't answer is how you ensuring that the device is not stolen, it's not missing, it's not being converted.
That's what I did. I said top to bottom. I did answer you. I said top to bottom. We've given ownership of the devices to the various districts so that the teachers, they know which particular students that we gave them to. Okay. So the students are accountable for it. And then we also know which of these schools we handed it to. That's in each of these districts, we have what we call permanent secretaries who are in charge of those districts. And they know which of these schools, they know which of these teachers and principals are with those students, with those devices. In fact, when we went in the field and we were conducting the surveys that I mentioned, where we were assessing the students' work, how are they engaged with our radio and TV programming during the lockdown? How have they been engaged so far? And then when we gave out the devices, wanted to know how are they using it, the radios and the simple smartphones. We were asking them questions in regards to this. And so far, so good. All our students turned up with their devices. And like I told you, they even send us messages asking us, oh, you know, I had a problem logging into this part of this. I had a problem doing this. And this, you know, it started freezing. And then we now called back, like I said, last week and yesterday, the app developers, please, you need to come in. You need to help us to troubleshoot these certain areas that the students say they're having issues with. So that's what we've been doing. In fact, I'm really happy that I'm in-house seeing all of this, because if I was just reading the news, I would not understand how much work it takes to really put this into place, because I understand the concerns people have about these things being stolen. And that's why when I was making my presentation, I said we made sure that the devices were simple ones. We didn't want iPhones. iPhones are too attractive. Besides, they're expensive too, of course. But things that will be too expensive, you know? So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, we wanted our other participants to also come in and tell us a little bit more what they are doing in the state, so that helps to inform our decisions as well. But luckily, at least Lagos is here. One of the things we wanted to find out is Lagos also willing to probably share their multimedia content in other states in terms of open data, because that is what is currently everybody's pushing for now. Will Lagos State be willing to probably share their multimedia content with other states as well?
I think that's something that we're going to have to discuss, but because you will notice in my presentation, I was very clear that this content, particularly the ones on the learning management, the software, like the one I said the students are using to review for WAEC, and then the one on the simple smartphones that they're using to study the content, that content is not ours. It actually belongs to these partners. Okay. Now, how willing that they will be to share, that's an issue that we'll have to have discussions with them, and they will have to discuss with these other states and reach some kind of agreement. So I can't speak on that right now by myself. There has to be a whole committee, a management team that has to sit down and discuss a lot of issues around that, because even for us to have this, there were agreements that had to be reached upon. You understand? Because think about the population that we have. There were major agreements that we had to reach with these organizations in order to be able to use and transmit this material to our students. So yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So can I ask you to hold on now? Let me bring in our colleague, friend from Oyo State, Mr. Adebayo, probably to. Mr. Adebayo, can you hear us now? I'm told that your device is okay now.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, good to have you, technology. So we'd like you to turn on your video so probably people can also get to see you while you're presenting. So because we don't have enough time, can I ask you to quickly give us, just in 3 minutes to wrap up, tell us what Oyo State is currently doing, your challenges and areas that probably you wish for collaboration, both from the federal and from donor agencies like us.
Thank you very much. Oyo State is started the interventions in this period in the 23rd of March, exactly about a week after the COVID-19 was announced in Nigeria, a few weeks after. And in the state, we had School on Air Radio with collaboration with some private individuals, private radio stations, and state government-owned radio stations. We have collaboration with a private company, Smart Up Technology, which gave us free questions, which we deploy on our website, www.uysg.edu.ng. Where students can practice these questions on a daily basis. And also, we have collaboration with Education Advancement Centers who give us the learning content, which were being heard on radio and televisions on daily basis, 5 days in a week, morning and afternoon. And not only that, on our website, we had some learning materials which were deployed, like the School on Air Radio, the student can watch television live, with field data in collaboration with the Airtel Nigeria PLC, which gave us a free access through our website to all users by just logging using Airtel SIM. Not only that, Oyo State is presently working on development of our own learning content with the input from the state government. And but there are still some challenge area where we really need interventions. We could not cover during our monitoring using our field officers at the local government and the zonal levels. And the monitoring team set up by the Honorable Commissioner, led by the Permanent Secretary, we discovered that there are areas where we need to cover. In the remotest parts of the state, in Okeogun area, about 7 local governments, Ibarakwa zone, that have about 3 local governments. So out of the 33 local governments, we discovered that we were able to cover only 2022. We realized that there are some challenges, like that of the remote area that I mentioned. Then there is no facilities. For instance, for some area where the parents are very poor, the students don't have access to radio, telephones, Android phone to be able to use the website very well. And we are thinking if we can have interventions to provide some radio to this, especially the Atori area. We realized that in the Atori area of Okeogun, we have a radio station we call Gravity FM. We were thinking of collaborating with that, but there is possibility of funds. So we were thinking if we can have intervention in that area, we'll be very glad. Then we have the issue of teachers not able to use the ICT facility very well because of their capacity. So we need to develop the capacity of these teachers in the use of technologies to dissipate teachings onto the students. Another areas where we have challenges that there is need for us to have some resource centers. If we can have a resource center where students can go download the materials on their radio, on their phone, on their parent phones, which can be used for teaching and learning. So we are thinking of having a community viewing center where the School on Air Radio can be aired for all the students in the community, observing social distancing. What are the lessons we learned? We realized that with the right set of human capacity and technologies, learning can take place at any time in all places. We also realized that there is need for us to sustain the intervention of this period, even if COVID-19 is no longer in place in the world, because learning, the digital learning that we have put in place is complementing the learning in the classrooms. Then we realized that students need to be equipped with learning management systems using the platforms. The one we have, we are still developing it. Our agency, Tescoms and Subeb, they also use WhatsApp, Telegram, YouTube, and these are the applications they use to teach one-on-one students of teachers of each subject, creating a virtual class where teaching was taking place. And the teachers are rewarded with the state government with some compensations. Like I said, we realize that government cannot shoulder this responsibility because of the huge investment that education costs. What are the way forward? We realize that we need to provide air times for the radio station that I mentioned, like the private station in the remote parts of the state, we realized that we need to provide some small radio, some like 4,500 that we can have the content in partnership with the other internet service provider, MTN, 9mobiles, and Glo, in some area where Airtel did not cover. We realized that we need to develop ebooks. What we have in our website is only covering for SS. We need to cover for primary and junior secondary school as well. We realized that we need to scale up the free internet, like I said, to other networks, not only Airtel that we have. We need to develop capacities for our teachers, learners, and administrators on the benefits of e-learning. We need to establish e-learning support and resource centers in all our educational zones. So we are imploring KOICA and other private agencies to support the state in scaling up our efforts in taking learning to all the students in our state. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Just a quick question for you. One of the things you mentioned is to establish a community viewing resource center. So can you?
Yes, sir.
What exactly will be the concept? What exactly how are you going to sustain it? Is it going to bring people together and then just listen to television, listen to radio and television? What exactly is the concept behind
we have educational zones in the state. We are thinking we can have these 8 zones. It will be like a support resource centers where students can go in, maybe 10 at a time, 20 at a time, for downloading our contents in their mobile applications or their parent phones, so they can use it as an additional learning aid.
Okay, so that's the concept, right?
That's the concept, sir.
Okay, so just one quick word, then we're going to wrap up this section. Thank you very much. So in your last word, what are your last words? Let me get last words from Minister of Education. You've been listening. We also have FCDA. You've spoken. You've been listening to what the state is doing. I think ubec as well. So let me get your last words so that we can wrap up this section, starting with you from Oyo State. What are your last words, quickly?
The last word is that, in line with our policy trust, the state is not resting on how to ensure uninterrupted education service delivery, as evidence in all the programs that are put in place. So we are imploring KOICA to come to our aid, especially in the hard-to-reach areas and in the development of our learning content. Our own video, we collaborate with a private company to give us the learning content. So we want to have it on our own that we can use at any time. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. You also have other people from the federal as well. You have ubec as well. We support a lot, support the state a lot. So let me get your last word from Lagos State as well. So what are your last words quickly so we can take that into note?
Okay, our last words from Lagos State is we are looking for partners so that we can bring our learning, like we said, 360 through all our students. So we need more devices, the radio and the simple phones for our students, as well as we need support for setting up our internet infrastructure. And we need support for being able to deliver this content to our to our students, and to support our teachers in creating this content to put on this our 360 learning ecosystem that we're planning for our students. So any support that we can get in devices, infrastructure, setting up content, would truly appreciate that.
All right, excellent. Okay, so let me get some last words from the director as well, Minister of Education. Director Isah, do you have few last words regarding this section?
Yeah, this kind of interaction is quite good and an eye-opener for us to know what other people are doing. And for us in the ministry, what we need to provide is a guideline for everybody so that we can fit into the new now, and to work with all the states to be able to come up with something that would be standard for everybody to use. And we also wish to collaborate with all the states to be able to share content. Like somebody asked a question, Lagos State is doing a lot. How do we collaborate with them to be able to share their content with other parts of the country so that everybody doesn't have to spend that kind of money producing their own content, since it's internet and everybody can have access to it. For organizations like yours, yeah, we can share in the experience of what is happening in other clients to guide us so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. That will make it easier for us. Webinar like this frequently will be very good for us to be able to come together and think together and be able to take care of the new now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so finally, let me get a last word from Dr. Ladan as well from Education Secretariat. Dr. Ladan. Okay, Dr. Ladan, can you unmute and give us your last words after listening to the state and all that been said? What will be your last words?
Yes, thank you so very much. I think this is a very good platform to share ideas and collaborate with each other in order to move education forward generally. And with this, I think we are well schooled now to see the areas where we are lacking to meet up and to see areas where we are doing very well. And to KOICA, we are very grateful for this kind of opportunity. We have been collaborating and will continue to collaborate to see how we can move education forward in Nigeria and everything. Thank you so very much for the opportunity, and we are grateful for this kind of gesture.
Okay.
Looking forward for more areas of collaboration with KOICA.